Hello, my name is Miles Newcomb, and this is the Week 3 case study on models in action between Cirque du Soleil and the traditional circus. Throughout this presentation, I'll be touching on two business models, which the Cirque du Soleil is in light blue and the traditional circus is in yellow. And I use Canvanizer for this to differentiate the two business models to understand what is most effective in Cirque du Soleil's approach as opposed to the traditional circus. Starting off with customer segments, the traditional circus is more family friendly and kid focused, as opposed to Cirque du Soleil's business model, as them targeting more of the adult population. To me, because it seems like the adults have the money, and if they want to spend it on themselves, they'll be more apt to spend it on themselves rather than their whole family. In regards to channels, the traditional circus is more of a regional, local, traveling show, and they have partnerships with like fairgrounds, and that's really all I could think of in this aspect to where traditional circuses um, get most of their partnerships and things like that, or through their different channels. But as opposed to traditional circuses, the Cirque du Soleil's business model targets more upscale venues. They're on a national and global scale with different types of venues in different countries. DVDs, social media, YouTube, anything really on the internet. They stay really relevant in the internet industry, so that they're seen, and so that the adults and families that they target are able to uh, see where they can go to participate in these venues and events. When talking about revenue and cost, for the traditional circus, um, the revenue is more so of getting people in the door with their low ticket prices to um, have them pay for concessions and souvenirs for the kids. Um, and that coincides with cost because they have to pay more for animal maintenance, and their star performers cost more when putting a label on them. And then, as opposed to Cirque du Soleil's business model, they increase their prices for tickets. Their merchandise and sponsorship counts for 20% of their revenue, and 80% of their box office tickets is most of their revenue. So they're more targeted on getting people in the door and giving them this experience so that they'll want to come back. Um, in regards to their cost structure, they pay the owners for the venue of the space, the cost of producing the show. They don't have star performers, so they probably pay their performers close to the same rate of performing, but the cost and revenue streams definitely go hand in hand. Lastly, the most important is the value proposition. And the traditional circuses really bring in fun, the trained animals, the ringleader, concessions, stars of the show, and then some sort of danger and excitement that starts from the ringleader. Uh, Cirque du Soleil's business model is somewhat similar, but pretty different if you really go in depth to it. Taking away the animals first off, they tailor toward the arts, and they're blending the theater and the circus together, uh, from Broadway arts, making it more of an artistic focused event and a different experience for people, upscale, beautifully produced experiences and themed venues from all parts of the world. So showcasing that value is definitely a milestone and a game changer for differentiating the circus and Cirque du Soleil. In tying it all together, when compared to a traditional circus, Cirque du Soleil lines up well with the traditional circus, but the differentiation of taking out the animals, tailoring more toward artists and people seeking an upscale experience rather than big families, shifting the focus on theater rather than fun and danger, and increasing ticket prices and not banking on people buying merchandise and souvenirs. Some of the biggest variations between these products are the overall presentation of the entertainment. Cirque du Soleil poses a more upscale vibe and tailored toward more artistic-minded people. A traditional circus is tailored to families and getting people in the doors to sell them on merchandise and souvenirs. These variations impact the overall approach in the interest and reach of the products. Everyone knows of a circus to be like a state fair type of event where it is cheap to get in and spend a little more on food and drinks. As for Cirque du Soleil, has built their brand on an upscale environment to be able to bring a date or a family to the event while also spending money on some food and souvenirs, but they aren't really pushed to do so. In terms of the value proposition, Cirque du Soleil excels in this area because their value proposition is specific in terms of who they want to attract, as well as taking away the animals due to people thinking it's cruel to use animals in show. Lastly, offering unique venues and a different experience is how they offer their value. As for channels, Cirque du Soleil excels in their channels because of their partnerships with hotels, resorts, and other upscale venues, as well as selling DVDs and active on social media. Customer segments, Cirque du Soleil is focused more on adults, but still offers a family-friendly environment, which gives them a competitive advantage over the circus due to the traditional circus customer segments being all family-friendly. Lastly, as for revenue streams, Cirque du Soleil's revenue streams comes mostly from the box office sales and do not haggle the attendees of the show by selling concessions and souvenirs to their families while they offer things for sale. They leave it up to their attendees to buy the extra items. And lastly, in conclusion, the shift in the traditional circus model to the Cirque du Soleil model has created a significantly different product by changing their whole value proposition to combining the circus and other arts, as well as creating channels where moderately affluent people go to relax, like hotels, resorts, etc., and want to spend some extra money, while still keeping it somewhat affordable for everyone to participate and view their entertainment. And the process of finding vastly different alternatives from different companies, business models, could really lay out the pathway for my venture and where I want it to go.